Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a puppet. If you've seen this in the background of some of my other videos, this is my puppet. Just take a look. Okay, so they're pretty simple to make. You can make sewn cloth ones, but I prefer to make corn husk ones. Now corn husks, I got mine off of Amazon. I got like 100 for like £8. So you'll need 4 corn husks, relatively the same size. I always like to have one that's obviously bigger than the other 3, and then an extra one that I normally tear, and I can use this for more puppets. And then this is for the arms. Now this is kind of tricky to get a hang of. The hardest bit, I'm sorry if you can hear weird noises in the background, my cats are genuinely going absolutely mad because the weather is awful. So what I have here is a bowl of pretty hot water, not boiling, just, you know, warm. And you're going to soak the corn husks that you're going to be using. Depending on how hot your water is, depends on how long it'll take. Because mine is, you know, hot, hot, hot. Be careful, don't scold yourself if you choose to go impatient and fast and use boiling water. So you should soak these for a bit, but that's the tricky bit, because if you don't soak it for long enough, then they'll be too hard for you to manipulate and they'll be too hard for you to make the puppet out of. I normally soak the piece that's for the arms just for like a little bit, because it doesn't have to be that soft, because all you're going to do is fold it up a little bit and make it into an, you know, arm shape. So I do have quite hot water just so that this video is a bit quicker. So now what you're going to want to do, you're going to need something to dry them with, like a towel, a paper cloth, something like that. So you're going to want to dry these pretty well, because any leftover moisture is going to make them quite slippy and hard to manipulate. They don't need a lot of manipulation, it's just quite finicky if they're stiff, and that will not help you in the slightest. So once they are dried enough, you're going to lay them out. So in my case, because I choose to have a much bigger one, it will be the biggest one, which is this one. Is it? No, it's that one. So the biggest one on the bottom, then the next biggest one. Now don't worry if they have these crinkles at the bottom. Mine have that. The bottom doesn't need to be manipulated, and these crinkles make it really hard to, like, soften. They stay pretty hard and rigid. Don't worry about that, because you don't really need to do anything to the bottom that, you know. So that one's still a little bit wet, I'm just going to dab it. So once you've laid them out, you want to take some jute string, or just whatever string that you want, but preferably one that will tighten really well. So don't use yarn or sewing thread or something like that, because that will not tie, you know, tight enough. This is quite a stiff kind of rope. So just going to make sure the tops are fairly lined up. Put the string underneath the top, then wrap it around, leaving about an inch, I would say, at the top. Would you say that was about an inch? like so, and then tie it real tight. Don't make any fancy bows or anything like that, you just need really tight knots. And then cut off the little bits that are hanging out. There we go. So that's step one. Congratulations. Now you're going to want to open it up because it's tight, so it's probably closed off the opening a bit. Open it up and fold your little extra bit that's sticking out down. This is the most finicky bit. And then make sure that all of the layers are curling around so that you can't see that little extra bit. Because as you can see, it's just kind of hanging out. No, we don't want that. So don't worry if you slightly rip it a bit. Sometimes pushing it up helps because that gives you a bit more husk to work with. Now we're going to do something very similar to what we just did with the first knot. Get some more string and tie it like so, leaving another inch at the top. And as you can see, that's the head. I should have just do it like this. That's how you make a head for one of these. Oh, really tight. That sound is sometimes really aggravating. It's like cotton wool grinding between your teeth. It's not very nice. But you really have to get it tight, so you're going to have to endure it. Yeah, and then you can kind of keep fixing up any holes or anything. And there you go, that's the top. Now, if you want a boy Poppet, what you might have to do is part these, cut up the top, as you can see like this. And once you've put your arm in, keep these separate and tie them off, because yeah, that's going to give it two separate legs instead of a dress like a girl Poppet has. You can have a gender neutral Poppet, I'm pretty sure that is definitely a thing. You can decorate these however you want, you can paint a face on it. As you can see, I added a Tree of Life charm to my one. You can really do whatever you want. So this is where I take my arm bit. Some people don't believe in cutting the corn husks. I care more about the appearance of it, so I don't really mind if I have to cut the arms a bit. Slot it in between and bring it right to the very top of the corn husks. Sorry, I might have been off frame there. See, now I think I cut those a bit too short because it's going to be a bit of a chunky one. So I'm going to take some more that broke off of some other corn husks. So yeah, I'll sort out the arms and then I'll tell you what to do next. Right, so once the arms are in place, take your thread underneath and you're going to tie this, and that's the torso. You can make the torso quite long or quite short. I just do it however wide I've made the arms, because I do like it to be quite tight underneath the arms. Here we go. Cut. These scissors are not that great. I miss my other scissors. So that's the torso. You can kind of roll it down if you think it's too short of a torso. But other than that, I think I'm quite happy with it. So yeah, if you want to make it a boy, now would be the time to twist out these halves and make some more knots either side to keep these parts separate, and that gives you 2 legs. But I normally do make female poppets, and I kind of like the effect that the rippled corn husk gives on the bottom of their skirts, so it all works out quite well, even though the ripples are a bad thing normally. Now, I like mine to be able to stand up on their own fairly well, so I normally cut the bottom to be quite even, like so that wherever I put the poppet, it can stand up. Perfect. If you want to add a charm around it, like how I did, before you tie the knot on the head string, thread it through and bring it to where you want it. You can have it behind it, front of it. I liked it on the front. Now, this is just something that I do. You definitely don't have to do this, but this is just an extra tip when you're making your poppets. I like to get some craft glue, PVA glue, and I like to put quite a lot on the knots so that they really stay tight and they don't come undone. And I'm just basically securing the rope. I try not to get the glue on the actual corn husks, but sometimes that does happen. But anyway, that is how I do poppets. This will have to dry for a little bit, but yeah, I've made quite a few. I was actually thinking of selling the ones that I've made. Not mine, but I've made quite a few. So if you don't have access to the materials that I've said about in this video, please comment down below, and then the next chance that I get, I will put them up on my Etsy store, Bright Chains. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video and it was helpful to you. And if you would like to subscribe, do that for more Wiccan crafting videos. If you're not into that, I have other content coming up. I was planning on doing some reviews and things like that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!